A pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to some more Super Foam Flying. So for today's pick, I am actually not very proud to present something else that pretty much came out in the Halo line. I'm specifically talking about the Halo SPNKR, a Spartan rocket launcher weapon that was used in the games. It could hold up to 2 rockets at once, and did have some great splash damage for the time that it was first introduced in. Nowadays, it's probably nothing too special, amongst a lot of other destructive splash damage weapons we've known from other games. Yet the Halo SPNKR got to a point where it would eventually be adapted into a Nerf blaster. But not just any Nerf blaster. This is a micro-shots blaster. A jolt-sized variant of other pre-existing blasters. It's not just about original blaster recasts that were in fact put together into jolt-sized, compact packages. But they also did in fact cross over to different franchises. We've seen Marvel heroes be turned into micro-shots blasters. We've seen other video game adaptations like Minecraft and Fortnite, and even Roblox. And of course we have Halo, like in this case. I've already talked a bit about another micro-shots blaster that was released in the Halo line, which was based off of the Covenant's Needler. Nowadays, we do have ourselves a full-sized Needler that is in fact a very expensive collector's package, included with a lot of things. But in any case, the SPNKR, at least for a rocket launcher that's turned into the size of a Jolt, how does it compare to the Covenant's Needler, as it's pretty much the only other leading example of this? In this regard, we have Halo being put together with Nerf and micro-shots combined into one. So, I feel like that's just pretty much what sums it up altogether, but at the same time that I do feel like that this would be a great idea to have by any means, there's actually a handful of problems that I do have with this blaster that almost puts it on the same scale as how I've talked about the Alpha Strike Uinta or the Needler itself. Because as weird as it sounds, we've actually had a lot of examples where blasters are in fact so bad that they just don't really have a place in the marketplace nowadays. You might think that it's insane for me to talk about it in such a manner, but here's one big problem that I had not identified until I actually bought this. Yeah, you can pretty much see for yourself. At the time I first saw this thing, when I bought it, I actually figured that it would have 2 barrels, where you'd be able to fire 2 darts, pretty much, using a smart AR system, but no. This barrel only acts as dart storage, and this one here is the primary barrel where a dart is loaded, and you can prime down like so and fire, pretty much. That's just how I see this thing, but in any case, it just pretty much goes to show that's just one thing that you could feel deceived about. Very deceived. But am I going to recommend this blaster to anybody? No, not really. And there's a few other reasons for this. Just for the fact that it's a micro-shots blaster, so do expect ergonomics to be almost out of the question entirely. Because this right here is where I have to do this little awkward positioning of my fingertips, just so it's not uncomfortable to hold on to. I could definitely not fit all of my fingers within this handguard at once. And so, as awkward as it might be, that's just technically the whole aspect about this that I tend to argue the most. But we certainly can't forget the fact that this is also a one-shot blaster only. Again, bringing us back to the point where this second barrel only acts as a dart storage, especially if you look down it like so. Notice the air restrictor right here. And the other one does not have one, so if that doesn't give it away already, then well, just be sure that you can fire the blaster once, then try to fire it a second time with the dart still in the other barrel, and then you'll pretty much just see what I'm talking about. In any case though, I won't really consider the SPNKR to be that bad of a blaster by any means, but let's just not forget. that it's not just the Halo line in 2021 that didn't necessarily give us everything we could have ever hoped for in regards to a proper video game adaptation series. Of course, this is not the first time that Hasbro has adapted a franchise to make Nerf blasters out of. We've seen a lot of things. Transformers, Star Wars, and other video game franchises like Fortnite and Minecraft and Roblox, as I mentioned before. So Halo's not alone in this. But in recent years, we've been seeing a lot of Hasbro product placements with other companies, as they were in fact able to get the rights to use their properties to be put into Nerf blasters or other such toy lines for their own marketing purpose. That just tends to be the big approach that most people are doing nowadays, and it's getting a little ridiculous. So, you can only imagine where else they could possibly go. Maybe they could start adapting the Call of Duty titles. I would kind of like to see such guns from Call of Duty titles be adapted into Nerf blasters at some point. That might sound like a lot of fun, but until any of that happens, we're probably going to be stuck with a lot of this. So I feel like that's just pretty much what is tied into the Microshot series in terms of the Halo line, but there are a bunch of other Halo blasters out there that I will in fact be talking about pretty soon. So if you want to see more, go down to my channel, then make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.